Hey, thanks for listening to this Trainer Spotlight episode on Fitlete Radio. My name is George Pagan III. Let's meet our coach.
My name is Jeremy Dillon, and I own Rewire Health Performance in Franklin, Massachusetts. I'm a strength and conditioning coach working with two main populations: adults who want to feel like athletes again. That could mean anything from getting out of pain, moving better, or just having more energy. And also youth athletes who want to improve their speed, strength, and confidence for their sport. My background is a mix of personal training, sport performance, and a lot of real-world problem solving. My training style is pretty simple. Move well, get strong, stay athletic for life. At the end of the day, I see my job as helping people build a body they trust and a mindset that keeps them going long after they leave the gym. I'm also the father of three fantastic boys, a beautiful wife, and two dogs.
I know you're an awesome coach and take your job seriously, but to get to know you a little bit more, can you tell us a funny story about your life that happened outside of coaching?
This story involves a baby, a dirty diaper, and a dog having a seizure. Disclaimer, no dogs, babies, or diapers were harmed in the making of this story, but it did happen. So 2018, my oldest son was a few months old, and my wife had to go away for an event for the first time, leaving us alone. Red flag right there. So we're having a great time. Everything's going smooth. And so I bring him over to our reading nook where we usually change his diaper. And I hear all this ruckus going on in the dining room, which is around the corner and out of my vision. So we have a yellow lab and a black lab. And I thought they were like getting into it or something. So I just yelled over to knock it off. And a few seconds later, it didn't stop. It was just continuing, and it was very consistent. So I was like, okay. So I walk around the corner, and our younger dog is having a seizure. And we didn't know that he had seizures. And so this threw me off guard. So for a second, I froze. And then I was like, okay, I got to do something here. So tried moving all the furniture out of the way, making sure he wasn't going to hurt himself on anything. And then a few seconds later, I'm like, oh shoot, Jack's over on the reading nook. So I sprint over to the reading nook, all right, and make sure that he's okay. His diaper's dirty and half off, so I put that back on, wedge some pillows in between him and the sides, so that way he can't roll and move. And I sprint back over, make sure I can get the dog through his seizure. Thankfully, he did. He was calming down, and then I went back over, changed the dirty diaper, went back over to our dog, made sure that he was okay. Everybody survived. We're good. But I did prove to my wife that I can multitask when it really is important.
We can't train everyone exactly the same. Our clients come to us having different life experiences and sometimes force us to think outside the box when it comes to their training. As a coach, how do you problem solve with your clients who come to you with some common aches, pains, injuries, some physical limitations, or previous traumas so they can still get the results that they want and the ones that they came to you for?
This, much like almost every other job in life, is really about problem solving for people. So when someone comes in with an injury or a pain or trauma that they're trying to get over, first thing I'm going to do is listen. A lot of people come in and they're expecting to be like quote fixed, but we can't fix anybody, and we can't care about fixing somebody more than they care about fixing themselves. However, you do want to hear the whole story before doing anything. So I'm always going to ask them about past injuries, what treatments worked, what didn't work, how they move now, and how they feel about movement. Because sometimes those past experiences or those injuries can really make them avoid or be apprehensive about movement and exercise. So it's building a trust in those first few moments of the relationship that really goes a long way. From there, it's assessing. Don't assume. So we use movement screens and just watch how people move during simple exercises. Real world movements are going to show us way more than any like specific test. Now we use specific tests, but we want to see how they function in life, because that's ultimately what we're training them for, is to have a more fulfilling, confident life. And next thing you usually go for is, once we figure that out, we're looking for progress, not avoidance. So the goal isn't to avoid every movement that hurts, but to find a variation that they can be successful with. So modifications, not eliminations. When it comes to someone who is coming off an injury, we have a collaborative mindset. So everybody has a case where they need to work or reach out to a physical therapist or a chiropractor or somebody else on their team, maybe a little bit more on the medical side of things. But we're all working towards that goal for this client. And if we aren't having clear communication, then we're not going to be able to give the client what they need in the best way so that they can be successful and they can feel better and get back to living the life that they're looking forward to living. And the other piece is the mental side matters. All right, past injuries are going to equal fear. So we try to rebuild confidence by focusing on what they can do and stacking up the small wins rather than focusing on the things that they can't do and we can avoid. And after all, when we're meeting with somebody for the first time, like, we're not figuring out what they're bad at. We're trying to figure out what can they do well and what modifications to other things, other exercises and movements do we need to make so that they can be successful.
Just like we are, most of our clients are spending time on social media and can get information from other people in their family and social circles. When questions come up during coaching calls and training sessions, how do you address some of the common misconceptions around nutrition and exercise with these clients?
False claims and misconceptions are brought up on a weekly basis, and it's something every trainer has to deal with. Uh, in most of my experience, I try to respect where a client is coming from when they come at me with information because that's just what they heard, that's what they were told. So why would they think anything else unless they've done their due diligence and done their own research? So I respect where they're coming from. And if someone tells me that carbs are bad or lifting makes women bulky, I try not to roll my eyes right in front of them. I ask where they heard that and why it's stuck with them. And from there, then we try to work through it and explain like how each of those are accomplished. So like why carbs are not necessarily bad and how much work it takes for a woman to look, quote, bulky, and the supplementation and diet and all the other life changes that need to happen too. So we talk through it, all right, and then show them what it takes so that way we can turn it into using simple and clear analogies. Like for example, like if your metabolism isn't a switch you broke, it's more like a dimmer on a light that we can adjust. Or protein is like building material for your body. You can't renovate without materials. So we got to make sure we're feeding our body enough. And protein is one of the harder things to get people to eat enough of. Well, at least I've been having that problem, and other coaches may as well. But once we've hit a couple of those, now it's okay. Now let's empower our clients through education. All right, treat each conversation as a chance to give people tools. Right, so we're showing a client how to add more food that might actually help fat loss for long term. But the big thing is making sure that we're putting in a positive aspect, and we're making sure we're talking about adding things in, not taking things away. Because if you add better things in, then naturally some of the other stuff is going to slowly sift out. And then it's repeating key truths often. So people don't change beliefs in one conversation. We go back to the basics over and over again, sometimes in different ways and different analogies. And before you know it, the light bulb goes off, it clicks, they understand. And they don't just understand, but they are actually taking the advice and applying the advice.
Our clients can come to us for many reasons, and often they tell us in their consultations or new lead questionnaire that they have multiple goals or they're trying to work on a couple of things. Usually it's not just one sole specific thing. How do you approach goal setting with these clients who have multiple objectives when you ask them about what their goals are?
More often than not, someone's going to come at you with multiple goals. And I have 4 ways I attack this. One is prioritizing by impact. So if we can figure out which goal is going to unlock progress for other goals, then they're going to ultimately feel like, oh, it's going to make it easier. All right, and everybody loves to hear that easy, even though we know nothing is easy. They might be simple, but it's not easy. So, for example, if somebody's goals are they want to have more energy and have fat loss, then, well, odds are if they don't have any energy, then fat loss is probably going to be more challenging because they're going to be less capable of making the other nutritional changes and other planning that goes along with that for fat loss. So prioritizing is very important. The second one is framing it as stages. So word for word, say we're going to tackle all these goals, just not all at once. That way we can focus. It focuses our help and prevents overwhelming, and it can help to build momentum. Third one is asking what matters most to them right now, because priorities shift once they realize the work involved in each goal. Some goals are a much more of an undertaking than they realize, and as I said previously, we as a trainer or coach, we cannot care about our clients' goals more than they do, because that they're never going to achieve them because they don't have the drive to do it on their own. So the last one is blend goals when possible. So sometimes strength training hits their look better and feel stronger goals all at once. It's not always choosing one or the other, but sometimes it's about just better programming. So if we can program for both of those and portray that this is the impact that this programming is going to have for them, then they're more likely to get on board, get excited, and achieve those goals.
I believe all coaches should have similar baseline knowledge before starting to work with people. And I'm building Fitlete to help bridge some of these gaps that exist in our exposure to education. What experiences or qualifications do you think are crucial for coaches to have in order to deliver the best service they can for their clients?
This is, I'm sure, an interesting one because I think there's a lot of core commonalities between coaches, and then there's going to be a few differences as well. And so one of my big ones is I'm not huge on certifications. Whatever your certification is, whatever you come in, you're going to learn our framework, and we're going to help to, and we're also going to learn from you and in this other training because it's a two-way street. I never stop learning. I want to see how other people do things because just like a golf swing, there's no one way to swing a golf club. And so the certification is less important, but the personality, that is the big one. Okay, if we can have a welcoming personality, someone comes in, all right, looking for training where they might feel a little intimidated in the first place, they come in, a genuine smile on your face, and you can make them feel inviting and build a relationship and trust right off the bat. All right, that's invaluable, and that's something that we all can use big time. And when it comes to experiences and qualifications, the experience I look for actually is if somebody who's worked in the food or service industry, working in a restaurant. All right, I did it. I served tables, I bartended, and you learn a lot about the customers. You learn how to read personalities. You learn to anticipate needs, and ultimately that will make them happy and get them what they want. On the other side, you learn to work with different personalities from a coworker standpoint, other servers, bartenders, hosts, back of the house. So you got your dishwashers, your cooks, and your managers. So and also it's a fast-paced environment. You need to be able to move quickly but calmly and smooth. All right, and be able to anticipate the needs of the entire restaurant. So that teaches, I think, a lot because when we're training, you're usually, if you're not just doing one-on-one training, you're usually working with multiple people. So we have to be able to anticipate needs, multitask, all right, and be able to be fast on our feet. The other thing I look for when, in addition to a training certification, kind of going back to that, is some background in nutrition. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but we need a general understanding of nutrition to answer your basic questions. The other one is behavior change. Understand how to behavior change and motivationally interview people to get them to understand and see, to discover the answer themselves. And if you can do that, then you're going to be in pretty good shape.
Our industry is evolving every step of the way, and we're getting to the point where it's essential to have some sort of technology within your business for both the experiences you can deliver for your clients and your ability to grow sustainably. How do you use technology to assist you in your coaching as a coach and behind the scenes as a coach that nobody really sees?
Technology is part of our lives no matter what. So we can try to find ways to embrace it, but also use it in a practical way. So I think of tech as enhancing the human side of coaching, not necessarily replacing it, right? Because it's a tool, but it's not a coach. So some of the tools that we use are, one, we have a branded app, and this takes a lot of scheduling off my plate. All right. I don't have clients texting me, all right, every day. Hey, can I come in at this time? Hey, can I join this class? All of it's on the app. All right. I get the notifications. I don't have to interact. Somebody needs to change something. They change it on the app. All right. So it frees up my time, and I don't have my phone going off every 30 seconds. So clients can book sessions. They can purchase. They can fill in all the personal information, and it's all right there. And I can put announcements and updates. That's the first thing that's going to pop up when they open the app. So if something's important, I'll send out an email. All right, but I'll also put an announcement on the app, so it's right there. One of the big ones I use inside the studio in the gym are force plates. So I love this because I wanted a different way to be able to track metrics rather than just testing a broad jump, testing a vertical jump. Here's how much you lifted for this many reps. Um, uh, Everybody, adults and kids, they absolutely love using the force plates. All right, we can track jump height, power, deceleration, asymmetries. It helps us show progress in athletes, but also the adults. I like using this with teams as well. We could have a team come in the spring, all right, and then at the end of spring, all right, we can test them again and show the difference. All right, it's going to show all the metrics in a nice graph. It's easy to read, and now we have that information to use as marketing to other local coaches and teams and organizations. And so, again, tracking progress and having a way to deliver that information is invaluable as well. Behind the scenes, the most important technology that I use is Wellness Living, and that is I use that for everything. So it holds all client information, payments, everything is automated, because the last thing I want to be doing is making sure somebody's paying every month. All right, we have everything automated, and that is the number one, because the more you talk about payment and other waivers and everything else, the more time that takes away from just focusing on the client and their experience. And ultimately, we want a client based and a client focused session and facility. All right, it's not about me; it's about giving them what they need and what they want.
Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some great info about yourself. Jeremy and I went to college together, and he was a grade older than I was, and I came into the major late. So we had some random classes together. Some of them were specific, and some of them were the elective classes. He was actually the first person I knew who got a job in the field after graduating. And for me at the time, it was a sign of hope and possibility, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my future and didn't have a clear cut path after leaving college. And knowing that after moving 3 hours away from school and with a degree and no certifications or experience, that there was still some possibilities of getting a job in the field. And it really helped me ease some of the anxiety of the unknown moving forward as I progressed towards being, a full-time trainer. I'm glad you got to know Jeremy a little bit through this episode. Check the show notes to see how to connect with him best. That's all for this episode. If you want to learn more about Fitlete and possibly get your own episode, visit fitlete.com. That's fitlete.com. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.